It seems like he can be had for a late first round pick. Now, do I think the Knicks should move our number 27 pick in order to get Dennis Schroder? No. Hey, how's it going? I'm Keith here at Sports Vibes TV, and it seems like teams around the league that don't want a point guard are just calling up the Knicks and trying to pass their players on to us. First, it was CP3, then it was Russell Westbrook. I made a video on both of those guys. I'll link it up above. You can check that out. And now it's Dennis Schroder. Dennis Schroder was a player who was originally drafted by the Atlanta Hawks. They ended up moving Jeff Teague to give the keys to the offense or the keys to the team to Dennis Schroder. And I feel like they did that a little bit too soon. He wasn't necessarily ready. And you saw that in some of his production over with Atlanta. They ended up moving on from him and drafting Trae Young. So for the last year and some change, he has currently been on the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it seems like he can be had for a late first round pick. Now, do I think the Knicks should move our number 27 pick in order to get Dennis Schroder? No. I think we should, use that 38th pick and, maybe a player that we don't see in our immediate future. I think we can do a trade like that. Dennis Schroder is still a good role player, but I don't necessarily think we need to be giving up a late first round pick just to acquire him. He's on a relatively inexpensive deal. He only has one more year on his contract, and we can bring him in and he can kind of be, somewhat of a stopgap option at point guard. He's still fairly young. He's only 27 years old, and it would allow us to whether that be fill the point guard position as a starter, or if we decide to go out and bring in a Fred VanVleet, maybe he could also potentially back them up. Because right now he's backing up Chris Paul and Shai over in Oklahoma City. Now, I think he could be a productive piece for us, but I don't want us to necessarily give up first round picks. We've gone down that road already where we've traded first round picks, whether they ended up being early first round picks or later picks. We need to try to keep our picks in-house, whether they be early or late, and try to see if we can actually develop some talent. We brought in a pretty good developmental staff, or a staff that's good at developing players and helping players reach their full potential. One of the coaches I like to bring up a lot is Johnny Bryant. He's a coach that worked with Donovan Mitchell, and we're hoping we can see some similar, magic work off or rub off on RJ and some of the younger guards we have on our team. Now, what I want to do is I want to just look at Dennis Schroder, show some of his stats to see if you guys would potentially like him to be on the team. So let me just get this up for you guys. Now, like I said, Dennis Schroder, still fairly young, 27 years old. He won't turn 28 until sometime next year. And like I said, he was a first round pick for the Atlanta Hawks, and he was a pretty productive player. He averaged damn near 19 points a game, almost 4 assists. So he is a player that can contribute. Like I said, he was at the Atlanta Hawks for the first few years of his career, and then the last 2 he spent on the Oklahoma City Thunder. For the majority of those years, he came off the bench, but he was still getting somewhat near starting minutes. Like if you look, he was a starter for the majority of his games on the Hawks, and he only played 30 some odd minutes per game, and he got right around the same amount of playing time in Oklahoma City. So we could bring him in. We could, input him into the starting lineup, and he has experience. He could be able to bear that burden. But I think he might be best used as the first guard off the bench to give, the starters a breather. I don't really want him as a feature piece. That's why I don't want to necessarily give up a first round draft pick. If we're going to give up a first round draft pick, it better be for a player that we see potentially, leading the team, whether that be a 1A or a 1B type player. So you guys, let me know what you think down in the comments. Would you be okay with the Knicks moving on from the 27th pick in order to bring in Dennis Schroder as our starting point guard, or, the first guard off the bench? Let me know down in the comments, all right? Once again, I'm Keith here at Sports Vibes TV, and I'm out.
All my stress.